We're live, YouTube.
Hi, YouTube.
Welcome back to us.
Welcome to Monday, you motherfuckers. I'm really sorry it is Monday.
This list sucks. This list sucks. This list sucks. This list sucks. It sucks.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back. And it is Monday, like Mike pointed out to the YouTube listeners.
To the YouTube crowd.
And that's my direct fault, I would say. I had some shows to play on Friday and Saturday.
Oh, stop it now, dude. This show was not going down on Friday.
We were not prepared.
There's no way, dude.
Neither of us were. We had a busy week.
Yeah, there was a 0% chance that I was going to get all of this listening done with all the other stuff I had. So this was mutual.
It worked out well, though. So here we are on a Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be back this weekend sometime. It's not going to be Friday. It's probably not going to be Saturday either, but it might be Sunday.
Listen, you're going to have to bear with. We warned you all at the beginning of this month that shit was going to get weird because we had concerts. We get gigs are back for you. So live music is back, and that's awesome for us because we love it. It's awesome for you because that's what you do. Mm-hmm. But let's be real. That means that you got to rehearse more. That means that you got Fridays and Saturdays. You got to do gigs, man.
Yeah, sometimes. But, I imagine things will get a little more regular with the show in the winter.
Yeah, obviously. So. Yeah, wintertime regularity should come back. And, programming notes, since we're talking about it, next week, it seems like it's going to be like a Sunday or Monday.
It's going to be Sunday or Monday.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. And then, y'all, we're taking another week off because we did a fun bonus show when we went to Deer Creek to go see fish. We can't do that at the gorge, though.
We're flying.
Yeah, there's too much logistic stuff. JB's not checking a bag. Mike's not fucking checking a bag. No. We got to figure out how we're going to haul 1,000 beers out to George, Washington from Spokane, Washington.
I think we're going with 1,100, right? Is what we said?
That's the plan. That seems like a reasonable amount for 3 days.
So I don't know how we're going to get that and the podcast gear out to there.
There's no way.
Yeah.
So
something's got to give.
Yeah, and it's going to be the podcast. But that's okay because what that's setting us up for is a real special return.
Yes. And also, I believe
that's going to be 305 through 301. So we're going to be finishing up another 100.
Oh, I didn't even put that together.
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha. That's awesome. The other thing is, I think it's totally fine. This is only going to be the second week we've taken off since we started. I think that's the case.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah. We've been pretty steady with it, pretty consistent.
I knew I had to take a week off to deal with Aunt Christine.
That was the only week we ever took off.
Fuck, dude. That's powerful.
We were not always on Friday, but we did it.
But we did it.
Yeah.
So commitment, people. Commitment.
We love the listeners. And we love doing it too. So
that's the thing. I mean, we love doing it, even if there was only 4 of you fuckers that were listening. And luckily there's 24 of you fuckers that are out there listening.
At least.
We love you all. So
yes. We sure do.
So much has happened. It's kind of I'm trying to think about what we should talk about. So rough morning for Mike this morning. Yes. Because last night, JB and I and some of our friends old-fashioned time down at Lordson's
brand new amphitheater. Well, new as of, I guess, 2 years before. So
I was just gonna say it's new as of 2019, which should be oh, that thing's old hat. But there wasn't shit going on last year. Yeah, so nothing happened. And I think this was the first show of the season.
I think that sounds right. Yeah.
I mean, there may have been one other one. I don't know.
I think they've done they've done ballets there, I guess, or really they've been doing that a lot.
Yeah, they really.
A listener of the show, Shane Parker, him and his girlfriend will go out there and he's told me that they've had some awesome ballets out there. And I would like to check that out at some point, actually.
That would be really cool to see that outside.
And I think it's at that stage.
Well, and I've been to shows where they've set up seats and stuff at that stage, because when we saw the Flaming Lips there in 2019 with Lennon Claypool Delirium.
Yes.
They had, so the pit section up front where the concrete was kind of where we were on the edges of, that was still all pit and you could get in there. But then as soon as you got outside of there, they actually had seats set up for people to sit down and stuff on the grass, which It's cool, kind of unique. I mean, it's not for me, you know.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I'm just gonna sit here, especially if it's a high energy concert. If it's different, like at the ballet, I would probably sit. You know, I'm not gonna be like raging for those on YouTube for the ballet, but for Humphreys McGee, I'm not gonna sit down.
You're not gonna fist pump the Nutcracker?
I don't know. If it depends on the quality.
Fucking the dance of the Sugar Plums Fairies.
I'll be howling at the moon. Well, now I'm gonna have to do that.
I mean, just once. It'll be kind of embarrassing for Katie. It'll be fine.
That's
just
okay.
do it.
Yeah, I'm willing to do
just
it.
Own it.
I'm gonna live it up.
Listen, it's been a couple of weeks since we've had any new music. Have you listened to any new music?
Actually, no.
I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
I haven't either. The only new music I've been listening to is the new Fish show, usually the morning after they play them at some far off city.
Yeah, when Fish Tour is going on, it's certainly exciting to kind of watch that. So
yeah, absolutely.
I'm actually pulling up the list because I'm curious if anything big has been dropped that we should at least mention.
There is a new Killers record that came out. Yeah, and I don't dislike the Killers. I think they've gotten a little tiny bit worse with every album that they've released. Yeah,
that just came out on Friday.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to them closely enough to say if I feel that way or not, to tell you the truth, but I believe you totally. Is a new Nas?
Oh, did I know about that?
It's 2 weeks ago.
I feel like maybe I should have known about that, but
oh shit, they did do August 6th. They released the 50th anniversary edition of All Things Must Pass.
Of All Things Must Pass, George Harrison.
Did you get that on vinyl?
No, I have the OG on vinyl.
Yeah,
I did. I mean, they're not releasing that on vinyl. Have you seen what?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
No.
I think I saw a buddy of mine on Instagram who was doing like a side-by-side deal. He's like, my OG All Things Must Pass and my 50th anniversary All Things Must Pass.
How many fucking LPs is that?
That's a good question.
Because I'm almost certain it's like 6 hours worth of material on digital.
It could very well be that they
pared it down.
Yeah, limited release for the
vinyl.
Yeah. I'd imagine that's what it was. It's probably the same as the original.
Yeah, I would certainly hope so, because holy man alive. I mean, that's just it's a lot. It's a big record. It's a big record to begin with.
I mean, the original one, yeah, it was huge.
Yeah, a triple LP. But also really, really worth it. And I'm always curious to see if they were really able to make it sound better. I rarely buy into that, to be perfectly honest with you. Sometimes remasters do sound really, really good.
Yeah, I think
there's limitations.
They do for sure. Some of the Grateful Dead remasters have been really, really great. Like the
American Beauty.
Yeah, 50th. That's what I was looking for. The American Beauty remaster is something special.
It's really good. I can't disagree with you. What Apple Music did with Sgt. Pepper's, because they just re-released that Sgt. Pepper's with like spatial audio and a lossless remaster. Yeah, I mean, it's not impossible, but at the same time, you know.
But the other side of that is like, I don't know how much that's necessarily adding to my enjoyment of it a lot of the time. Yeah, and I wonder that too, because I mean, if I like really focus on it, like, yeah, the fidelity is higher for sure, but is that affecting my experience at all? Maybe marginally, you know?
Yeah. I will say this. I do like having really, really high audio quality to come through headphones.
Yeah.
Because when you listen to a record, and again, like as a kid, like when I was young, I didn't understand what was happening when music was like compressed down into a digital format, and like how it just removes a huge part of the soundstage until you get onto vinyl, and then you're like, oh wow, okay, yeah, there's a lot going on in here. So I do appreciate the fact that they're going to more lossless, like they're trying to increase the fidelity even on a digital platform.
Yeah.
I dig it.
I'm not against it at all.
Yeah, I appreciate it. My ears appreciate it too. So, I am. Lord has a new record coming out.
Oh, really?
Yep.
When's that one coming
out? I'm trying to find the release date. So she's got two videos and 2 singles that she's released. One's called Solar Power. The other one's called Stoned at the Nail Salon.
Nice.
Haven't listened to Stoned at the Nail Salon yet. I do enjoy Lord though. I mean, I really enjoy Lord a lot.
And Lord's last release made it onto this list. So
it did. And I mean, take that for what it's worth. But yeah, I'm in, and I have no clue when the fuck this is coming out.
Melodrama. What's the new one called?
August 20th?
Ooh.
Maybe? Yeah, it might be this Friday. I'm gonna say that I'm pretty sure it's coming out this Friday. We'll tell you on the next podcast. Because if it does come out this Friday, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm gonna give it a good listen.
Sure.
And yeah, King's Disease 2 is the Nas record that just came out, which I have not listened to.
King's Disease 2 is the brand new one.
Yeah, it's the brand new Nas. And of course, we already talked about Billie Eilish though, because that was a couple weeks ago. And we both listened to it too.
Solar Power is the new Lord record, and it is scheduled for August 20th.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be fun. I'm really excited to see where she goes.
Me too.
I want to see, or at least hear.
Both.
What do you say? You want to talk about the list?
Should we dive in? Yeah.
Yeah, we should definitely make an editorial comment at the top. This is going to be a slightly shorter episode.
Yes. 4 albums instead of 5.
4 instead of 5.
And we'll tell you why.
Should we tell them now or should we wait?
Let's tell them now, just to get it out.
I was going to say, yeah, because I already fucked it up. I already started talking about it.
So number 314 on this list is Aaliyah's 1 in a Million.
1 in a Million.
Yep. And it turns out you have about a 1 in a million chance of finding. Oh, God, I had to do it. Of finding this record to listen to.
I didn't know how you were going to do it. It was with aplomb.
Flawless.
It was perfect.
So,
flawless.
So the funny thing is, you can't find this streaming anywhere. There is a playlist on YouTube that is about half complete. And I started listening to the playlist on YouTube for this show. And really, we were just like, that's not a fair way to do it. Like, we're not listening to the whole record. And we were doing a little research just before we started the show tonight. You want to tell them what you were reading about, Mike?
Well, I'm gonna preempt that with I've ordered the physical CD off of Amazon, a used copy of the CD, and I think it cost me like $30 after shipping, something like that. But I was like, listen, I'll get this, I'll rip it, I'll share it with JB. JB and I will listen to it, and we'll just circle back around at a later episode. Well, on August 5th. Rolling Stone just did like an updated story about Aaliyah's music catalog coming to streaming. And apparently I jumped the fucking gun because on Friday, August 20th, 1 in a Million is going to arrive on streaming services.
Yeah. So now we just have a $30 used CD copy of Aaliyah 1 in a Million. So that would be cool to have at least.
I mean, listen, if any listeners out there are super passionate about collecting CDs and you got a hole that's like 1 in a million size by Aaliyah, send us an email. Send us an email to thislistsucks@gmail.com and I'll be more than happy to package this bad boy up and I'll just give it to you. Like,
we'll just miracle it to you.
A miracle you and I
with Aaliyah CD. Yeah.
Hot damn.
So long story short, we're not going to be doing the Aaliyah album tonight. We're not going to be covering it.
No, but we are going to do it.
We will do it.
We said we were going to listen to all these, and so we'll do it, and we'll circle back around when we're doing 310 through 305.
So probably not next episode, but the next episode after that, which will be again 2 weeks after this coming weekend.
That's right.
We'll touch on Aaliyah then.
That's right.
So 4 albums for tonight. Because we didn't want to add an extra one and get out of our sequence here.
You can't fuck up. You don't want to fuck up a good thing.
No.
So.
Yep.
Number 315.
Yeah.
Released in 2018. The first album tonight that we'll talk about is from Rosalia, and the album is entitled El Mal Querer. Rolling Stone says, in her Grammy-winning breakthrough album El Mal Querer, in English, A Toxic Love, groundbreaking Spanish singer-producer Rosalia not only mainstreamed the centuries-old tradition of flamenco music, she also freaked it using the power of 808s and a whole lot of heartbreak. Rosalia assumes a rapper's bravado in the opening track Malamente, and in the Palma pop gem Di Mi Nombre, she grabs her bullish lover by the horns. The result is one of the best ancient modern mashups of the 21st century. Wow. I don't I don't know that I would have heard any more of that had I read that before I listened to this record, but that's interesting.
It's high praise.
Do you think it's worthy of said high praise?
I think so. They say the result is one of the best ancient modern mashups of the 21st century. And that mashup that they're talking about is just like flamenco plus pop. Is that
being very specific? Flamenco music using the power of 808s and a whole lot of heartbreak.
Okay.
Heartbreak could be the secret ingredient.
That could be it. Yeah. I wouldn't know because I didn't understand a single word on this entire record because it's all in Spanish.
Which is not, that doesn't detract.
Not in the slightest. I'm just saying.
It doesn't detract from
the lyrics.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely loses something in translation.
In fact, well, I don't know if it might even add some for me because I don't listen to a lot of lyrics, and especially with this type with pop music. I mean, I especially don't really care about the lyric. You know what I mean? A lot of the times. Sometimes it's really good, and it just totally depends. But sometimes a lot of the lyrics are, superficial and silly and not something I would relate with. So maybe it even added something to me just having no lyrics on this one.
I mean, not all pop music. I think about Janet Jackson. Like both of the Janet records that we've listened to have been like a lot of fucking really kind of deep, heavy songs on those records. Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not all total horseshit, but I totally agree with what you're saying too. I mean, if a song speaks to me lyrically, that's great. But if it doesn't, I can enjoy anything regardless of whether I can understand the words or whether those words are meaningfully to me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Music doesn't, the music can stand on its own. And this was good.
It was definitely good. And the songs that I liked more were the ones that leaned more in the flamenco direction. Because there was definitely a spectrum on this one.
Yes.
Like which songs, like the second song, Que no salga la luna. Did I pronounce that okay?
Sure.
You're the expert, man.
No.
It was kind of funny because it was like a flamenco song with like Latin guitar, and then there was a random cash register sample. So that was, but there was a cool acapella breakdown on that I liked a lot. There was a section at the end where she had this held out vibrato note, and her voice was really shining on that part.
Yeah.
And I wrote down that song was repetitive, but it was great. I liked that one a lot. Some other ones, Reniego, the 5th track.
Yes, I loved that, dude.
That was probably one of my favorite ones. At least it was my favorite at that point during my note taking listen. Bunch of strings on that, kind of spooky, dissonant string intro, and then for a longest time it was just strings and vocals.
Yeah,
and it was kind of haunting.
Yeah,
beautiful.
I loved it. Like I loved the idea, and it's funny because now I see where they're coming from with this like ancient modern mashup, because that's a good highlight of that phrase, if nothing else, because I loved those classical strings in the background. It was cool.
Yeah,
really, really cool.
It was a cool sound, especially because there was a bunch of delay on it, and on her vocals and on the strings, and so it was just kind of ethereal and haunting. That's a beautiful track. I would check that one out. Baghdad. Do you know that the 7th track?
Yeah, dude, that song fucking rips too.
Do you know who helped to write that one?
I gave both of those songs 3 stars. No.
Justin Timberlake helped to write that song.
Of course he did.
Yeah. I gave that one 1 star, but I gave the last one, the Reniego, 3 stars.
Yeah.
But I did like the Baghdad song. That was good. I didn't star every song on this album.
There were a couple that I didn't, but there were 3 that I gave 3 stars to. Reniego, Baghdad, and I also really enjoyed Pienso en tu mira, the 3rd song. I loved the organ on that. The fucking organ was so subtle, but I thought it was so well done.
Yeah, that was cool. So that one was a little bit more straight up pop on the spectrum here.
Yeah,
there was some cool bass synthesizer though. Bass synthesizer on that
one. They're so good.
Great key sound on that song. Cool call and response vocal thing. I really liked what they were doing vocally, rhythmically. Because like I wrote down, obviously I didn't understand what the lyrics were, but the rhythmic meter to the way that they were singing was great. Another couple of highlights for me, Nana. I really liked that one. which was the 9th track.
That almost had like a Middle Eastern type flair to me.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, so you thought the same. Good. I'm
They
glad
were
I wasn't
shifting
crazy.
between minor and major keys, which was really cool, and yeah, a bunch of different voices going on in that, which I really liked. And then the Maldicion, I liked that one a lot too. That was the 10th track.
I gave a star on that. I like the synth line.
Yeah, there was a bunch of synth on that for sure. And then I really liked the vocals on the bridge, which was in like the latter half of that song. So there were some serious highlights for me. Definitely. I mean, I wasn't bummed out to be listening to this record at all.
I wasn't either. Listen, the last couple of weeks and the next 2 or 3 weeks to me, really, I'm going to say 325 through 300. Like when I look at this stuff and we've now listened to over half of it. And every single time I'm getting way more critical in terms of I'm okay with it being on the list, but why does this appear here
this high
on this list?
Because 314 on a list of 500 is pretty high.
Yeah. I mean, just making the list of 500 is a fantastic accomplishment. But I mean, man, to get at these levels, I don't know. I feel questioning,
Oh yeah. No, don't get me wrong. I'm questioning as well. I don't even know if this should even be on the list.
Yeah.
I'm going to make that argument too. As much as I did enjoy like listening to it. I'd never heard of this, and I feel like I'm pretty aware of a lot of music.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I'm not aware of everything, and I'm not saying that I should know it if it's on this list or something like that. But I haven't heard of this at all. I don't know how much this has influenced anything that's come after. It's fairly new.
That's my other point of beef with this. I don't know when in 2018 this was released. Hopefully it was released early, but you're talking about something you don't even have 3 years of shelf life on this thing.
Yeah.
And you're calling it the 315th greatest album of all time. Oh, and by the way, you probably started doing this in 2019.
So yeah, they're
this
like
album's
1 year
been out for like a year, and you're like, oh, this is
one of the best of all time. We're gonna put it at 315. Yeah.
It gets really weird with me. And I think we've had this conversation before where like the sports Hall of Fames, almost every sports Hall of Fame, there's a waiting period, right? Like somebody doesn't retire from baseball and then the next year they're in the Hall of Fame.
Same for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Every Hall of Fame is like that.
Because that's how it should be.
Isn't this a Hall of Fame? I mean, this is basically a Hall of Fame of records.
Yeah.
And yet you're taking babies.
Yeah.
You're taking babies that you have no
You're taking that's had no time, something that's had no time to develop or marinate in the public eye at all,
And you're not even going to have a greatest hits of Glenn Miller anywhere on this list.
Yeah.
And Glenn Miller was literally probably responsible for half of the fucking baby boomer generation.
Right. That's not on here. You sure?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unequivocally, according to unpaid production assistance data collector Heather Barkley, there is no Glenn Miller.
Gotcha.
There's not a lot of stuff though,
There's a lot that's left off because they got to leave room for Rosalia.
This is and that's where I think the argument gets a little bit weird, because I'm all about inclusiveness. I do want to see multiple genres represented.
So
I don't know.
I'm not against inclusiveness at all, but I also don't like on the list of the greatest albums of all time. I don't want inclusivity for the sake of inclusivity.
For the sake of inclusivity.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the best albums of all time are the best albums of all time. And I don't think that you should, intentionally include albums that or omit albums that otherwise would be considered the best albums of all time just for the sake of inclusivity.
Yeah. If for no other reason, and we're going to get into albums that I think create really almost impossible arguments.
Yeah.
For example, when we get to Damn from Kendrick Lamar, a relatively new album. I think Damn may have came out in 2018 as well.
It was, yeah.
Or maybe it was 17.
Yeah.
Either way, 17 or 18. really, really new. It's tough not to say that album doesn't belong on this list, though, because it's the only rap album that's ever won a Pulitzer Prize.
Yeah.
Fucking won a Pulitzer Prize. That's crazy, right?
There's a little bit more of an argument for that one, though, too.
And
just to be clear, I'm not making the argument that that's the only reason this Rosalia album is on this list is inclusivity. I'm just saying in general. I'm not saying specifically with this. In general, I don't want to, just have an album included just for like to make sure you cover every genre. You know what I mean?
And frankly, like with this type of genre, if you will, we've already seen Selena. And I almost think Selena should be represented multiple times before you start bringing in an artist that hasn't stood the test of time. And again,
we've seen Shakira. I mean, not the same genre, but it's certainly, I guess Shakira's Spanish as well, right?
Yes.
Selena's not Spanish, right?
Album.
Selena is
Mexican. You know what? I'm not going to. Selena was definitely Mexican, but Shakira is Colombian.
Okay. And Rosalia, I think, is Spanish.
Yeah. Shakira is Colombian and Rosalia. You're right. Rosalia is Spanish.
Yeah.
So, okay.
It's definitely a different genre, but, so yeah, we shouldn't even make that argument. Like, oh, we already had Shakira. I said that was dumb. but
no, I was the one that said I would rather have another Selena record on here.
Yeah, but that's a valid argument for this for the time reason, because this is 2018. So
yeah.
And again, I liked it. I think you should listen to it. If you've not heard of it, I think you should listen to some of it.
Absolutely, it's a wonderful example of Latin pop, like Latin crossover type pop, and that whole ancient modern mashup that they talk about. That's all there.
Yeah,
it comes through. It's all there. It's worth a listen. I question the next time that Rolling Stone does this list. This is one of those records that I could see it not being on the list the next time they do an iteration of this, depending on what the flavor. I could
very well see that happening.
Right?
And I feel like that's going to be the case with a lot of the newer stuff. A lot of the older stuff that's really stood the test of time is going to shift around a little bit. It's going to have 100 spots forward or down. But a lot of this newer stuff is either going to be on or it might be off.
I'm thinking about you, Harry Styles.
Yep.
I'm thinking about you, Billie Eilish.
Lord,
yeah, Melodrama even.
Yep.
Like all of those are super suspect. So with that being said, I'm going to make the argument that I don't want this record on the list.
I'm right there with you.
I just don't.
But like I said, I think you should listen to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah,
it's a great record. And perhaps, in 2 or 3 iterations down the road, if people go back to it and they have that sentimentality that listeners get when you have really impactful, great records, wonderful, and we can debate whether it needs to come back at 315, whether it needs to be higher, whether it needs to be lower. But for right now, I'm just out. Listen to it, enjoy it, but let's make room for a legitimately just amazing record.
Yeah,
that belongs on this list because there's a ton of them.
No, we received no Rex email this week. So
Rex,
yeah,
you've had weeks.
That guy,
he's got a girlfriend.
He's had plenty of time.
He's got a girlfriend.
Rex has a girlfriend now.
Yeah.
Well, I hope his girlfriend's still okay with the pudding battle with
I am too,
Lee.
because that's coming down soon.
Yeah.
A whole lot of Jell-O pudding.
Yeah, actually someone suggested just last night that we should surprise, and I probably shouldn't say this because
it's a surprise.
Well, it's kind of funny though. That we should
just tell me right now.
Okay, I'll tell you right now.
Tell anybody
Nobody
else.
Listen.
Okay.
That we should surprise Lee and Rex in the tub of pudding during their battle by throwing my rooster into the mix. Just randomly throwing him in there. And he's going to be, let me tell you, he's going to be pissed off because he always is already. So that would certainly keep things interesting.
I'm gonna shoot you real straight here, boys. Those claws on that rooster,
they're thick.
They mean business.
They really do.
So you
guys better be ready. You have your game face on.
It's gonna be a bloody pudding battle, is what it's gonna turn into.
Yep.
Okay.
Should we move on?
Yeah.
Okay. So skipping over 314, which is Aaliyah,
we'll
1 million.
We'll come back to you, girl.
Returning.
Come back to you, girl.
313 is PJ Harvey. The album is Stories from the City, Stories from the Sea from 2000. Polly Jean Harvey, Happy? Question mark. Album number 5 found her in New York and in love, crowing I'm immortal when I'm with you in the surging opener, Big Exit. Harvey had spent 4 records howling her sexual obsessions and romantic disappointments over postmodern blues. Her guitar attack was still forceful, but softened around the edges by marimba, piano, organ, and guest vocalist Tom York, especially on the garagey Good Fortune and the yearning A Place Called Home, mash notes to lovers in the big city. I didn't know this one at all, or any PJ Harvey.
I did not know any PJ Harvey either. So after you listen to this one, are you PJ questioning, team PJ, anti-PJs?
Am I pro PJ or anti PJ?
I mean, you could be PJ questioning.
Yeah, I think that could be what I am.
PJ questioning.
Real quick side note, I got distracted. We just got an email. Okay. And check this out.
Okay.
This is from the swamester@gmail.com. It says, hi, my name is Dan. And he says, I catch what I can of the podcast. I'm a friend of Lee's and I have a massive CD collection with a massive hole that 1 in a million can fill. So Dan wants the CD.
Did Dan send us his address?
He didn't. Yes, but he says I'm friends with Lee. He can vet me, and I can show you photos of my CD collection if you guys don't believe me. So
Dan, address it up right now, Chief.
He said I couldn't tell if that email us comment was a joke or not, but I figured, hey, why not? No, absolutely. Send us the address. We will send it to you, Dan.
Dude, Dan, you have a brand new used copy of Aaliyah 1 in a million.
Yes.
Coming your way, Chief.
So terribly sorry to interrupt the PJ Harvey conversation, but we just got that. And I was like, I can't believe that.
No, I'm
that
so
worked
glad.
out.
I'm so glad that you read that.
Yeah. So anyways.
Okay. So I'm definitely PJ questioning. I had no clue who PJ Harvey was, but I really love this record. I loved it a lot. Shocked how much I enjoyed it.
Wow. Yeah. What'd you like about it?
Honestly, my favorite tracks were the Tom York features.
Yeah, the Radioheady tunes, because there were definitely a couple.
They were definitely Radioheady tunes.
There was one that I didn't like when I was doing my cold listen, and this is like the second time something like this has happened, but I think it was the song this mess we're in. And I was like, wow, that sounds all like Radiohead. It turns out it's because Tom York was singing lead vocals on it. So that was great. That was one of the ones I dug a lot too.
I gave that song 5 stars.
How would you describe that song?
Yeah, I love that song. I mean, really loved that song. The music, like, I loved what she did musically on this. Does that make sense? Because it wasn't it's funny when you read these descriptions, and I'm assuming that we're going to get more PJ Harvey on this list.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
The only reason why I think that is because we went down, like Genevieve and I went down this rabbit hole on our way back from California, where we were, that's where I did my cold listen for this record, was in the ride back from California with her.
Back then. Yeah.
And this record actually won, I think it's called the Mercury Prize. Are you familiar with the Mercury Prize?
No.
So it's an award given out by I don't think it's given by the BBC, but it's basically a British award, and it's awarded to one record per year. And it's either somebody from Great Britain, Scotland, or Ireland, I think. It's basically like the old world UK.
Yeah, the UK.
And it's a record. It's just given to basically like the best record of the year. But that's the only prize. That's the only award that it is, right? So it's just called, I think it's called the Mercury Prize or the Mercury Award. And this was a record that won. It actually won that award.
Wow.
And PJ Harvey was one of 4 artists that's been nominated for the Mercury Prize or the Mercury Award 4 different times.
Shit.
Yeah.
Did you listen to any of her other stuff?
No. And it's weird because what this did make me do is as soon as I got done listening to this, I actually went back and I listened to Exile in Guyville by Liz Phair.
Okay.
Because of the way that they were describing like the kind of jangly guitars or like, what is it? Howling sexual obsessions and romantic disappointments over stark postmodern blues. I was like, Jesus, that sounds like Liz Phair. That makes me want to listen to some Liz Phair. And so I did. And Exile in Guyville, it's fucking really good.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of curious to see if that's what earlier PJ Harvey sounds like, or if it has kind of its own feel.
Because this is not postmodern blues.
No, absolutely not.
That's what was going to be my next question is, how would you describe this music? Like what genre? It's all the same. Like it's all pretty much one genre, wouldn't you say? It's not like widely eclectic in its style at all.
No, it's the album has a uniform, cohesive sound to it.
Yeah.
And what I'm
both in genre and in instrumentation.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's very little discrepancy between the instrumentation from song to song.
There's almost no production too, which like I appreciate.
Yeah, it's very sparse.
I appreciate because it takes a lot of balls to do that. I feel like it's easy to go into the studio and go in there with a mediocre song and make it sound pretty good by adding all kinds of layers and stuff and tricks and of the trade. They're gonna make it radio friendly or make it more accessible.
It'll make it sound fuller.
Yeah. But this is like guitar, some piano, drums, bass guitar, and that's it.
But I actually think I love the way that this sounds.
No, me too.
Does that make sense?
I'm praising it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but it's weird because typically, I don't know, typically when you think, oh man, this sounds so great, like in my mind, I automatically just say, oh, well, that's because it's heavily produced and it's really well done.
Yeah. This
is one of those things that it's incredibly well produced, but with almost nothing. Does that make sense? Like it's underproduced incredibly well, I guess is the best way to say it. But if I were going to label, I hate to be this generic, but it's alternative. Is what it is.
I was almost thinking like post-punk.
Why do you want to call it post-punk?
I feel like because it's like alternative rock, but with hints of punk. And I think that's kind of what post-punk is, right?
I don't know.
Or it's like where punk went. I mean,
yeah,
after punk.
It's where punk went after punk.
Yes, yeah.
I'm super excited to hear some of her earlier stuff because I think the earlier stuff is going to be really kind of like angry.
That's what it sounds like. It basically because the very first sentence is PJ Harvey happy.
I know.
With a question mark.
So. But I'm not gonna lie. I really, really liked her happy. I liked almost every song on this record. I put some stars next to, with the exception of Kamikaze, and that's funny because Kamikaze is definitely the fucking punk song.
You didn't put any stars next to Kamikaze?
I didn't.
Dude, Kamikaze was my most starred song.
Was it really? What'd you love about it?
3 stars. I guess it was just the punk. I loved the upbeat feel to it. It was way more upbeat than the rest. A lot of the rest of the song is almost, the album is kind of melancholy.
It is.
This is like straight up punk. Love her doing the falsetto vocals. Definitely was the fastest song on the whole record.
Yeah.
And I loved the chorus. I just pure energy. It was punk.
So it's funny because the last thing that I wrote next to Kamikaze was it's very Liz Phair. Because that's what that song reminded me of. It reminded me of something that you would hear on Exile in Guyville.
Who did her vocals remind you of?
Nobody necessarily.
I had a feeling you would like it because the very first song, I thought it sounded like the female version of like Iggy Pop in his Stooges days.
Okay.
A little bit.
Sure.
And then later on, I was hearing Heart a lot.
Oh.
Specifically on a place called Home. The third track.
The third track, yeah.
A lot of these songs, though, and I liked it a lot. I listened to this probably 3 times all the way through. And like I said, I really like the instrumentation and just the cohesiveness of it. But I just didn't have a lot to say about it. Like it's all pretty solid alt rock, post punk kind of stuff to me.
More alt
really
rock.
Good writing. I mean, really good choruses, but like nothing like there were several songs where, like on A Place Called Home, I was like, that sounds kind of like Heart. I dig the chorus. I don't really have a lot else to say about it, you know?
I liked in that song in particular, I liked the way that she was jumping octaves in her vocals. It's one of those things that when it's done really well, I dig it. You know what I mean?
Jumping octaves is fucking hard to do. So
yeah, it's a fun trick, and I love it when it's done well. You know,
I liked her guitar playing a lot.
Yeah,
it had like a rawness to it that I really liked.
Kind of Courtney Barnett-ish, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I liked there was a super overdriven rattly bass on the song "The Horse Hustle" and the Hustler's Horse. I liked that one a lot.
I did too. I even made note of that fucking big, giant, distorted bass.
But actually, one of my favorite songs was the very last song, "We Float."
We Float. I gave 3 stars.
Beautiful chorus. Reminded me of St. Vincent a lot, or I guess the other way around. You know,
I did not ever think about St. Vincent, but you're right. St. Vincent is like stamped all over this motherfucker.
Definitely, especially on the chorus on that song. Listen back to that chorus and thank St. Vincent, and you'll hear it. I guarantee it. Yeah, beautiful melody, great, like very just like a joyous chorus almost, which is not normal for the rest of this record, and I guess for a lot of other PJ Harvey.
Apparently,
based on what we're reading.
The track right before that, "Horses in My Dreams," I loved that song.
Yeah,
my notes, I wrote that I wrote the word sumptuous.
Nice. That's another thing I liked about a lot of this is that, and especially on that song, is it sounds like there was an acoustic guitar that was just pretty heavily tuned down. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was D standard or what it was, but it was definitely down, and it was really, really cool. And I liked one thing I wrote about that song is on "Horses in My Dreams" is simple, effective layers. Like there's nothing super fancy, but like laid down the acoustic guitar. There was like some little chirpy electric guitar that was just a little riff that went over the top. Just nice use of gradual addition of layers. Yeah. I mean, I like the record. What do you think list-wise?
I'm very curious to see if we get more PJ Harvey just based on some of the other stuff that I read. I suspect that we do. At least one. I mean, if all of her other shit is like angry and mad and howling and punky, I almost feel like we have to get that.
This list loves punk.
I know,
dude. It's like punk and hip hop.
Punk and rap, dude.
Yeah, are super well represented. I mean, I feel like every week we have a punk record, almost.
I mean, particularly between 400 and 300. Lots. It really feels like that. And it's not as though the 400s was absent of punk.
No. Like we have one next week coming up. At least one. Maybe, depending on what you consider.
Yeah, depending on what you consider punk.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So.
Which, it was a bad, like punk music. But I think about your ratio of metal to punk should be equal parts.
Probably.
In my opinion. Because at this point, I think metal has done
been almost no metal.
Right?
We had a Motorhead, right?
Yes. Ace of Spades.
Have we had any other metal?
And we're at 313, dog.
Yeah, I know. Maybe it's all top 100. It's all just filled with metal.
I mean, what are you going to consider Led Zeppelin?
Not metal.
Not metal. But do you think they do? In a way. Oh, no. We had Black Sabbath.
Okay, we did have Black Sabbath.
We had Black Sabbath and Motorhead.
We had our first Black Sabbath, probably of 3. So,
I mean, yeah. Well, what's your third?
Master of Reality.
You think so? You think Master of Reality is on here?
Probably.
I don't think so.
No. I mean, obviously, Paranoid is top 40, probably.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would hope so. Okay. Okay, so for me, back to PJ Harvey, I'm assuming that we get something else on here. I don't hate the placement of this. I would probably roll it. I'd probably roll it back 30 to 40. I'd probably want to see it 350.
Yeah, I'd put it further for me.
Yeah.
I put it low end, to tell you the truth. Although
north of 450?
Probably. Okay. But I think it's a good spot for it, in my opinion. But yeah, like I've said a million times before, I mean, anything on the list is amazing, you know.
Yeah. You're in hallowed ground if you just make it on the list, period.
Yeah.
I will say this. I'm going to listen to this record more, which we didn't talk about. I did not add Rosalia to digital. I did not. I'm not going to hunt out the record. This one I did add to digital. I'm not going to delete it from my digital library. And if I stumbled across this record, I might buy it. I'm not going to say for certain, but if I was looking at it on the right day and the right light, I might pick it up.
Right on.
Because it was really listenable to me.
That's a great way to put it. Extremely listenable. Nothing is offensive about it at all. Like no one's going to not like it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. But I respect what you're doing with it, and I don't hate you for it.
Yeah.
But I did dig it.
No comments from Rex still. I'm just kidding. Sorry, Rex.
Okay. Moving on, number 312, the third album for this week is from Solange from 2016, her record, A Seat at the Table. This will be fascinating considering what we've talked about already. Rolling Stone says Solange came into her own on A Seat at the Table with songs she wrote mostly in the Louisiana town where her family had its roots. She includes spoken word interludes from her parents as well as narrator Master P. As she said, quote, the album feels very, very Southern in my storytelling, end quote. Cranes in the Sky is a soulful lament anchored in Raphael Sadiq's bass groove, while protests like Don't Touch My Hair are about African-American identity politics. Quote, the hair journey of a Black woman is so specific, end quote, she explained. This is a fascinating conversation because now you're talking about a record that technically it is 5 years old now, but you know, we're kind of back into that argument that
Still
we just had with
fresh, though.
Yeah, with Rosalia. What did you think about Solange, and what did you think about it relative to that Rosalia record?
I loved it. I'm gonna tell you right now. I loved this record a lot, I had never never
heard it,
Solange. Right? Had you?
Yeah.
Okay, you did.
I had listened to this record quite a few times right after it came out, because when it came out, I was like, oh shit, and it was good. I listened to it a lot back in the day,
and I think in comparison to Rosalia, there's a little bit more time. I don't know when this came out in 2016 and when that came out in 2018, but a few years makes a difference. I would say when you're doing a list like this, you know, it definitely does. And this just has such a classic feel. I mean, if you told me it came out earlier than 2016, I would believe you for sure. I mean, you know, it's just such a classic R&B feel throughout it. I mean, just the fact that most of it is analog, right? I mean, most of it was the drum set, you know, and that was one of the biggest things for me is where there were electronic beats, they really popped, and you're like, oh, damn, because you hadn't heard that for a couple tracks.
For a couple of tracks.
It wasn't just a whole record of that, you know, and I loved the Master P interludes. I loved everything he had to say. I thought it was awesome.
Well, and some of those tracks were her parents too. Like not all of that was necessarily Master P.
I love the interlude from her mother. I think it was the one where she's talking about like Black Pride versus White Pride and stuff like that. You remember that one? Might have been towards the end where she talks about the difference between, she says Black Pride isn't anti-white. It doesn't have to be that way. And she says, people say, why do you have Black History Month? And she's like, well, all we've ever been told is white history. And like, you're damn right. You know, I mean,
I think that was that Pedestals? I think that was interlude Pedestals.
No, I think that was Master P. That's what I wrote Master down, P? At least. I think it was it wasn't No Limits. It might have been. Oh shit.
Yeah, I didn't take solid notes on the interludes. Because most of them were so short. You know, they're literally.
It was Tina Taught Me, number 18.
Gotcha.
Number 8. Sorry,
I got you. Yeah.
But yeah, I loved. There were several Master P interludes.
He did most of them. Master P did almost all the interludes with the exception. I want to say there were 2 that were not done by Master P. And one of them was her dad in one of them.
I assumed the other one was her mom since they said it was her
Tina.
Parents.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah. So the Tina Taught Us was her mom, and then Dad Was Mad. That was her dad.
Makes sense.
Speaking in that interlude, and everything else was Master P. Listen, it's a really, really brilliant record. And by the way, Rex Todd sent me a message about a half hour ago, and he said, check the live messages. I don't know what that means.
The live messages.
But okay, we will do that.
We haven't gotten any live messages, Rex. At least I'm not seeing any pop up.
Okay. Listen, it's all right.
Oh, you know what?
Oh.
For some reason, I had them blocked.
Oh, I'm sorry. Rex, we were intentionally blocking you.
Okay. And Dan that emailed us about the
Aaliyah.
He did send us a live message a little while ago and said, I love CDs. Expect an email, boys. And we did get that email.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay. Lee Stamper commented, and I just want to say, he said, just tuned in. JB is right and Mike is wrong. Whatever they said, he doesn't know.
Thanks.
And then Mikey Cisco, your son, says, I'm with Lee on that.
Fuck off, boy. Jesus.
And then Rex sent us one comment, and it's in Spanish, so I'm not sure what that means. Pinche mami el bicho. What does that mean?
Pinche. One more time.
Pinche mami el bicho.
Fucking mama. I don't know. Bicho.
El bitch. I don't know.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. But yeah, I mean, this record is great, and I loved a lot of the collabs too. I don't know if you read much into it, but on the song "Fubu," which was 13th track,
yep,
that was the guy that was the big producer in Vampire Weekend.
Oh,
Rostam Batmanglish.
Rostam.
Which did you realize that guy's last name contains Batman in it? His last name is Batmanglish, and it's Batmanglij.
Do you think?
And I think that's his
Batman?
God-given last name. I mean,
hopefully
I would
just call him
assume
Batman.
so. Yeah, and then this is another interesting one. I'll be
listen. I did not cave spelunk into the production credits like you did, so this is good because I did not go that deep into it.
One of the big producers throughout a lot of this, he does a lot of the songs, is a guy named Dave Longstreth, who I was like, when I saw that name, I was like, no way, it can't be the same guy. And it was this band that one of my buddy Joey, who listens to the podcast occasionally, turned me on to this band years ago, probably 10 years ago. This band called the Dirty Projectors. You ever heard of them?
God, yes. I've seen the Dirty Projectors.
Have you really?
Yeah, at Bonnaroo. Yeah.
So he's the main guy from that band, and he was heavily involved with this record.
With this record?
With this one.
With this Solange record.
Yeah. He did a lot of the production on it.
Fucking A, dude.
Yeah.
Give him a high five the next time you see him.
I know.
Because you fucking smashed, dude. Seriously.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Yeah. What's your favorite cut? If you were gonna tell somebody to listen to just one song.
Yeah. I like Don't Touch My Hair a lot. I liked Where Do We Go a lot. Probably Where Do We Go would be my pick for one, if you're gonna listen to one. How about you?
I fucking loved that organ on Don't Touch My Hair.
Yeah.
And the percussion.
There's just that's kind of the notes I made, was the percussion sounds, and then there was the big horn build at the end. And just minimalist. A lot of this was pretty minimalist.
Yes. I mean, most of it is really stripped down. I did love Junie though, towards the back half of the record. Yeah, fuck it.
Junie. Oh yeah, that had a good bass line on it. I loved that one.
Yeah.
Really cool vocal sound on that too. I don't know if it was like doubled up vocals, but
well, and that's what I couldn't figure out either. Like I couldn't figure out if there were just like multiple layers that they tracked down on her or how they did that. But I really loved that song. I loved Mad too earlier on. That was right after the interlude from her dad.
That was the one with Lil Wayne.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not like a standard Lil Wayne feature either. Does that make sense?
His verse was, he had two, and they were both really short.
They were. It was very judicious use of Lil Wayne,
which is good because I can handle a little bit of Lil Wayne. But as you remember from our conversation about Lil Wayne, I'm not a big Lil Wayne fan, you know?
Well, and that's what's funny is because it feels like when other people can get Lil Wayne to get on their record, they just fucking slaughter him. And I feel like they overdo the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
But not here. Like this was, I don't know. This felt like paroled Lil Wayne on his best behavior.
Yeah.
Around Miss Solange.
From 2016. So yeah, he was paroled at that point, right? Should we check the county assessor?
check the public DA.
Yeah, exactly.
The DA records. There's a part of me that I could move this up because it passes my 5-year test.
I don't want to move it up, but I'm cool leaving it where it is.
I don't think I would move it up a lot, but if it were between 260, and 300, like I would be
cool with that.
I'd be really cool with that.
It's a dope one.
It's a great fucking record.
Probably one of the 2 highlights of the week for me. Yeah,
I think this record is the highlight of the week for me.
For you,
yeah. Like if I was only going to tell to one record this week, it would unquestionably be this one.
Solange. Yeah.
Because we
dig it. We're on board.
Yeah, it's different. It's unique. Yeah. She's not just Beyonce's little sister.
No. And Lee Stamper commented and said Solange greater than Beyonce.
Ooh, bold statement, son.
And he said, don't me.
We got Lemonade coming up.
Yeah.
Dude, Lemonade fucking. Well, no. It's not coming up soon.
Yeah.
Lemonade fucking rips, dude.
That's a Beyonce record.
I'm
assuming.
Okay. Yeah. That's her like mad. That's her
big one.
That's her breakup record.
Okay.
That was after the footage in the elevator where Solange is beating the shit out of Jay-Z.
Oh shit.
Have you not seen this?
No, man.
Oh, we got to talk about this. We'll table this conversation for Lemonade, but
Solange, her sister, was beating up Jay-Z.
Yeah,
in the elevator
because it was like supposedly, according to rumor mills, like that was the night. That was the night that they found out that Jay-Z had been fucking somebody else outside of Beyonce.
Wait, but now they're back together, right?
Well, they never really broke up.
It was just a brief period of turbulence.
Listen, dude, this is what happens sometimes with married people. Sometimes one person of a married couple fucks somebody else, but the married couple is like, listen, I love you. Sometimes you fuck up and make mistakes, but we probably shouldn't break up this multi-billion-dollar marriage just because you can't keep your fucking pickle in your drawers all the time.
Does that happen a lot?
But I'm Beyonce, bitch, so don't be doing that again.
Don't be doing that again.
And then Jay-Z was like, I'm so sorry.
That's fair. I won't do it again for at least 5 years.
And somewhere in between to that conversation, Solange was like, you did what, motherfucker? And was like beating on him.
I kind of want to watch that video.
We'll Google it afterwards.
Yeah, we'll watch it afterwards. We'll get kicked off YouTube if we play it right now.
We can't play it. I read that one. You got the last one.
Okay, moving on. So 311. Or by the way, yeah, I mean, I would totally add this to digital and I would get vinyl.
Yeah. Yeah. If I find Solange on vinyl, I'll absolutely pick it up.
This would be a fun one to spin.
Yeah. Absolutely.
311 is our second Neil Young entry. And we have our third one coming up either next week or the week after.
Yeah.
That's not going to be it. There's going to be several. There's going to be at least 5. Harvest is one. And then, what's the other one? There's the other huge one. And I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but
I can only picture the cover for Harvest right now. So
yeah.
Anyway, but that's okay. Let's read this because I want to talk about this.
So Neil Young on the Beach, 1974. Reeling from the losses that sparked Tonight's the Night the previous year, Neil Young shelved that album for a while and made this one instead. A wild fireball of anger, as seen in Revolution Blues, nihilism, as in For the Turnstiles, and tentative optimism in Walk On. The album peaks on side 2, a stoned symphony of grieving whose 3 songs, On the Beach, Motion Pictures, Ambulance Blues, are among the most emotionally real in Young's catalog.
Man, I'm such a fucking loser.
Because you hadn't heard this?
Hadn't heard it. But But no, I mean, my loser comment was more around. I guess my loser comment is more just around the notion of I don't know.
Where are you going with this? Did you like this?
Yeah, I did, but I don't understand why this one's at 311 and the first Neil Young record that we listened to that had Cinnamon Girl on
Down
it,
by the river.
Down by the River on it. Why was that? It like because that was at like 390, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a good question.
Maybe it wasn't 390. Maybe it was 360. Listen, it was a fucking hot minute ago, but I actually enjoyed that record front to back more than I did this one. That doesn't mean that I thought this was a bad record. It's good.
Yeah.
I enjoy Neil Young. I enjoyed this record, but what is it? Everywhere, anywhere you want to go, you're already here, or whatever the name of I cannot remember
the other one.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I
don't remember what it was either.
To save my life.
But it had Down by the River on it, right?
Yeah, and it had Cinnamon Girl on it. It was fucking smoke show.
I'll tell you in 1 second. I'm pulling it up here. Everybody knows This Is Nowhere.
There you go.
That's a very valid point to bring that up, and I'm glad you brought that up right off the bat because that's an important conversation for sure. I'm going to say I didn't know almost any of songs off this record. I don't think. I think I maybe knew Revolution Blues, but I didn't know any of the other ones at all. Did you know any of these?
No.
I loved it. I'm going to say like almost every single song. I was like, wow, this is like a new jam I'm going to really enjoy from Neil Young. I am a Neil Young fan. I am not a diehard by any means, but I like most of his stuff. And sometimes his voice is a little much for me. Sometimes it gets a little whiny.
I like his voice.
I mean, I like it
a lot.
I like it sometimes, and then other times it gets a little whiny for me. But especially in his like higher register stuff. But these are great. Like from the right off the bat, that first song feels so good. I mean, it almost feels like reggae.
Yeah.
Walk On, especially on the chorus.
I wrote it feels like a beach album.
Yeah,
but in a really good way, like in a super light, airy, great way.
Yeah. And then See the Sky About to Rain. Nice little ballad. Love the Wurlitzer. I'm a sucker for a good Wurlitzer recording. And that is awesome. Although, absolutely, if you want an example of unnecessary harmonica, I don't know if there's ever been a better example than on this song. It's a fantastic song. Wurlitzer starts it off, beautiful tremolo on it, nice steel guitar in there, beautiful vocals, great song. It's like a 4 or 5 minute song, and then in like the last 30 seconds, there's just this harmonica that's just inexplicably just put over the top of all the stuff that was actually good. And I just brought that up because that's what I'm talking about when I say unnecessary harmonica. Listen to this and see if you agree. It's just like, why did you do that? No reason.
Because he's a really good harmonica player, though.
He's okay.
Mouth organ, I think, is what Lee Stamper wants us to call it. Okay. Listen, let's forego the necessary or unnecessary harmonica and let's talk about Revolution Blues. That fucking song rips, dude.
That is a great song. Yep.
That song absolutely fucking shreds. And to me, that it's I literally wrote down it's a perfect showcase for his voice and for his guitar work. Because he's excellent at both. I mean, he's a really, really good guitar player. And in the right setting, his voice is magical. I like his voice in just about any setting, but obviously, listen, different strokes for different folks. You think it's whiny sometimes?
I think sometimes, but I mean, it's like a minor issue. Like I covered Neil Young songs a lot. Like I'm a Neil Young fan, But yeah, I loved Revolution Blues. Really, really dark. That was a song about like living on the edge of town with 25 rifles and stuff like that, or like waking up in the neighbor's front lawn and you murdered his dog.
And you murdered his dog.
Yeah. Weird lyrics. Yeah. Like very, very violent and pessimistic. But it was cool. And I love the bass guitar sound on that. The bass guitar was definitely using a pick on that. I noticed, like stuck out to me.
What did you think about For the Turnstiles?
Actually loved that.
Did you really?
Ugh. And it's funny because
I fucking hate.
Do you not like banjo?
It's not that I hated it. It was just it wasn't.
And Linda, I was just talking to Linda Brundis, who's an avid show listener too, and she was saying just earlier tonight, literally, she was like, "Hey, you know how you don't like you think unnecessary harmonica?" She's like, "For me, it's unnecessary banjo." And that song is like all banjo. And not that I normally like banjo a lot of the time. I'm not against it, but it doesn't really stick out to me. It's something I really like that much. But I liked it on that. It was perfect. It just kind of fit the vibe for that song. I liked it. It was like cool, down home, kind of almost swampy feel to it. And there was a solid hook. Though your confidence may be shattered, it doesn't matter. I like that.
Yeah.
You didn't like it at all, huh?
This record was extremely hit or miss for me. And it's funny because I either gave songs 3 stars and 4 stars, or I gave them no stars.
What about Vampire Blues?
Nothing.
Really? I liked that one. And I loved the lyrics too. Because a lot of these lyrics were dark and pessimistic. And that lyric is like sucking blood from the earth. It's like the main line. Good blues song, in my opinion.
I didn't like the guitar solo in that song in Vampire Blues.
Yeah.
In fact, I wrote that it's almost pure nonsense to me.
Really? Yeah.
I mean, but at the same time, I made a comment in that song that, it's basic, kind of like more of this kind of a 12-bar blues type feel, but it wasn't nearly as, I use the word inspired, as Revolution Blues.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely doesn't have the same spark to it, but I liked it though. It was it was the Revolution Blues was Neil Young's version of blues. Vampire Blues was straight up 12-bar.
Yeah, just 12-bar blues. Yeah.
Okay, and then as the other side of the coin, okay, for me on the harmonica front, motion pictures, fantastic use of harmonica. I was like, it sounded like it fit the vibe perfectly, not out of place at all, and it felt like a feature, and that they used it well. So I like that song. Did you like that one?
That was the only one on the B side that I wasn't really crazy about. It was fine. I thought it was a little sleepy, and I thought it was kind of boring.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but it just didn't hit me the same way that On the Beach did, because On the Beach was a fucking jam. Like really easy on the ears, but man, I loved it. Really loved it.
Lee Stamper says this is his favorite Neil Young album.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jesus, Lee
This is how he discovered him. He also said #cancel JB though, so I don't know how much stock we should put into what he's saying.
How about none? I also loved Ambulance Blues. So for the record, Revolution Blues, Ambulance Blues in, Vampire Blues, fuck off for me. But JB's in on the Vampire Blues.
I dig the Vampire Blues. A quick side note. Not even a side note, but it's a side note about this record. Did you read Wikipedia on this one at all?
A little bit, but not much.
Did you read about the honey slides?
Oh yeah.
So there was this one of the session musicians that was playing guitar on this was apparently just avidly, just adamant that everybody in the band needed to be consuming these things that he was making called honey slides throughout the recording of this record, which is a homemade concoction and it's described as a goop of sauteed marijuana and honey. And quote, it felt like heroin. So they say it might have had a lot to do with the kind of mellow vibe of a lot of these songs, is that they were just fucking high as shit on honey slides.
Super, super high.
Yeah.
Which is ironic because they cut this album right after like multiple people in Neil Young's life had died from drug overdoses and whatnot.
Yeah. Right.
Whatever.
Yeah. I don't think you can overdose on sauteed marijuana. I don't know. No, when you saute it, maybe it does something. I don't know.
It unlocks the power.
Yeah.
I do want to circle back to, so that's fascinating though, that this is Lee Stamper's favorite Neil Young record.
That is. Yeah.
I would love to pick his brain on that. Cause I mean, like Lee at this point in time, he is a musical cosmonaut, dude.
Yeah, he really
has gone deep into multiple.
He's kind of like the Hunter S. Thompson of music.
Yeah, he's like a gonzo
journalist.
He's a gonzo music listener, is what Lee Stamper is, and I know that he's gone full ham on the Neil Young catalog. So if this is his jam, this is his jam. I like it. I'm not gonna I'm gonna move it though. I actually, what I want to do is I want to swap spots.
Just want to swap straight up.
I want to do a swap spot on Neil Young for me.
The thing is for me is the other one I knew so well, and this one was such a surprise that I mean, I don't know if I want to swap straight up. I'm not opposed to the other one being higher, but I don't want to put this as low as that. Like I think that should be.
I feel you.
Like maybe you could put that in this place and knock this one down 20 or 30. But I really liked it.
I did too. I didn't dislike it. It was very hit and miss for me.
Yeah.
It was either a track that I was into and I really, really loved it, or it was a track that I was okay with it. It was fine, but it didn't blow my skirt up.
I hear you.
But I also think that that's time, because I've found that with Neil Young, repeated listens and exposure to Neil Young,
it helps.
It matters to me a lot. So this is a record that I did add it to digital. I would love the vinyl of this.
I would too.
Because I think that this is one that initially I might put on every once in a while, but it would probably become a bigger staple as familiarity grew with the record and just time, because it's easy to listen to. It's not, none of it is bad.
No.
At all. I just, I prefer the other record more, and I'd like to see it higher.
And in terms of collectors, I mean, this is a solid one too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Any of the old new school Neil Young ones.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I totally get that perspective. So, but I'm stoked I heard this one because I think it's great. So
I do too.
I don't know the next one that's coming up that well either.
That's what I was going to say. It actually gets reading the wiki for the last one. Like I went down into a little bit of a rabbit hole. But should we preview what we're going to be talking about next week and sometime?
Yep. Let's do it. So 310.
Yep.
Is Wire, Pink Flag from 1977.
UK punk. Get ready. Gird your loins. Number 309, also from the UK. Not punk, I don't think. From 1980, Joy Division's album Closer.
Yeah, what is that? Alt rock or is it? No, they're punk. Yeah. At the end of their description there, it says Joy Division fully earned their reputation as England's most harrowing punk band.
I can't wait to talk to you about Joy
Division. Yeah. Brian Eno, 308, with Here Come the Warm Jets.
Can't wait.
Former Roxy Music keyboardists.
Brian Eno.
And then at 307, we have Roxy Music. And no, just kidding.
307, we do have limited this anthology to 30 songs. So an hour and a half, but it's an hour and a half of Sam Cooke. And the record is Portrait of a Legend.
I am not bummed to have to listen to an hour and a half of Sam Cooke.
I'm not either, dude.
Yeah.
Sam Cooke is magic.
He slays.
Yeah.
306 is Al Green, I'm Still in Love with You, our third record.
Third Al Green entry.
First was Best Of. Second was some record that had a bunch of songs that were on the Best Of. And this one is going to be the same.
There's going to be at least 3 songs that we've already heard before.
Yeah. That's okay.
And then the rest of them will be good.
Yes.
Because it'll be Al Green.
So,
and early Al Green before he got weird with religion and like, I don't know, like murdering people. I don't think he ever murdered anybody, but he definitely got weird with
go
religion.
hand in hand.
The Branch Davidian Al Green chapter.
That's right. Well, anyways, guys, thank you for your patience this week and in the forthcoming week and the week after that.
We appreciate your patience in the month of August as a general rule.
Yeah.
Because
probably next year too.
August has been, I mean, listen, summer tours happen, guys.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to do them.
You have to.
Yeah. We'll make it fun though.
Life gets busy in August.
Yeah, absolutely. And summertime in general. So join us next week. And it might be next week that we do Aaliyah too. We promise we have not abandoned Aaliyah.
No. Okay. We will certainly be coming back to that. It probably won't be next week because it's not coming out till Friday. Yeah. We might make it work. It depends which day we end up doing the episode.
You'll just have to tune in. Yeah. And you'll be surprised because one of these weeks it'll be surprise. Here's 314.
Yeah.
Where we talk about Aaliyah.
Yeah, exactly. But
definitely thank you for joining us.
Thanks again, guys.
It's nice to be back.
It is very good to be back to the list.
And we will see you real soon with more of this shitty ass list.
Indeed.
This list sucks. This list sucks. This list sucks. This list sucks. It sucks.
Bye bye. Thanks for tuning in.